Hello everyone! Welcome once again to Brandao Collection. Today, we're taking a look at the different ways to preserve and protect your autograph collection for future generations. So stick around and we'll take a look right after the jump. Alright, so jumping right into today's topic, I thought it would be interesting to spend some time and go over the many different ways that you can preserve and protect your autograph collection. Of course, all of us autograph collectors out there are spending lots of money, lots of time, and a lot of energy to collect these collections and put these pieces together, whether that be going to individual conventions, meeting these celebrities in person, or ordering or sending in items to private signings. Whichever way you may be collecting, these are valuable pieces, and you want to make sure that they last for your lifetime and possibly even into the future, past even your time. So there are a couple different ways that you can do that to allow for these pieces to last for a very long time, and we thought we'd do another series going over some of those tips and tricks. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification to be notified when we post new videos. We're always doing different videos like this, giving you some tips and tricks about your own personal collections, and of course going over items that we add to the collection as they come in. So stick around right here, and what we'll do is we'll then jump into different sections talking about some of the best practices when it comes to protecting your personal autograph collection. Jumping right into things, I thought it would be great to just actually jump right headfirst into the number one question that most brand new autograph collectors are looking for the answer on, and that's going to be, how do I actually protect these autographs that I've now spent my money and my time collecting and making sure that they're protected for the long term? And there are some ways, and we're going to go into that. And also with the long term, there is going to be a short term way of protecting those autographs. And that short term is in reference to the moment when you actually get the autograph to the moment when you actually get home, where you're able to store those items properly. Now, when it comes to your short term, let's talk about that first. And for your short term, you're going to be looking at specifically your plastic top loaders. And those plastic top loaders come in various different sizes. So the majority of my personal collection is 8x10. So I have a lot of 8x10 top loaders that I've purchased over the years at cons. Of course, some of those items are sent back to me through the private signings. They put those in the top loaders when they send them back, or collected through many other different ways. They also have them in 11x14 and so on and so forth. So it goes up to different sizes. So that's going to be kind of your main short-term way of protecting autographs, specifically autographed photos and even posters as well. So for that, what I mean by short-term is that you go to a convention, let's say, you then put that photo or poster into your plastic top loader, and that's going to keep it rigid, keep it safe for the transportation from the convention back to home. Now, you should not, and please keep this in mind, you should not keep a autographed photo in a top loader for a long term. Now, also dependent on what type of climate you personally live in may determine on how quickly that top loader may cause issues to that signed photo. But what may happen is that no matter what type of climate you personally live in, over time, that ink that is on the photo may stick to that plastic top loader, and then you're trying to get that photo out later on, and it may smudge or completely remove that autograph from your photo, which of course is going to be extremely heartbreaking if something like that was to happen. So use it for that short term. From going to convention to home, it's not going to ruin your photo. You're going to be perfectly fine as long as you give that photo enough time to dry once the photo was signed. So please always make sure of that as well. Make sure that the ink on your photo is dry before you place it into that plastic top loader. As long as you've done that and ensured that, it will be safe for the short term before you put it in your long-term storage option. So that's going to be your thing. Keep those in your repertoire, keep those items available for you to actually go ahead and have the top loaders, but do not keep them in the top loaders for long term because it may damage or completely remove those autographs from your photos or posters. Now, as we jump over to your long-term options, in my own personal preference and the preference of the majority of the autograph collectors that I am friends with and the community that I'm a part of, the preference is the iToya art portfolios. Now, these are available for you to purchase in many different places. You can get them very easily on Amazon. I also purchase them from Michael's, which is an arts and crafts store. And those are different places that you can purchase these. They're easily accessible. And the great thing about these is they have acid-free pages that you can slip your autograph photos into. And they come in various different sizes. So they start at your about 8.5 by 11 for your photos. There's even folders that are smaller than that, but you're probably not going to have as many photos that are signed that are smaller than 8 by 10. But if you do have any photos or index cards or anything that's smaller than 8 by 10, they do have a couple different portfolios that are smaller than that 8.5 by 11. And then you can go bigger and bigger and bigger depending on what size photo or poster you may have in your collection. And what you could do is that when you're coming back from a convention or you received your brand new piece that just came in from a private signing company, you can take that item out of that top loader that was shipped to you or what you used to bring it home, and then safely place it right directly into that iToya art portfolio. These art portfolios, as the name entails, is to protect artists' art. They're drawings, they're paintings, so it is a nice archival type of plastic, archival type of paper that's in those books to allow for long-term storage and allow them to be protected. So the biggest thing with those is that you can even see right here in my personal preference, I have those different binders upright, making it look kind of like a bookshelf, and I have them labeled. I just got a labeler, put the name of the different genre on the outside of there, so I know exactly which folder is for Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and so forth, and then just have them so that way I have easy access to grab that folder, take it out, and then flip through the pages to find the particular autograph that I may be looking for at that time. And the folders I use do have the ability for you to add additional pages or take pages out. It has a binder, but the traditional iToya binders have the pages just locked in there. So they have a set amount of pages in there. Those are your traditional ones you'll find at most conventions, at most art shows, at most stores, and even Amazon. And those are a little cheaper than the ones that are in the binders. It's just really up to your personal preference. If you want to have those bigger ones with the ring binders that you can add or remove pages, or if you want to have something that has a set amount of pages in it, and then you can slip those photos in with the exact same quality of plastic and paper for that archival protection of your individual pieces. Once you have those photos or posters in a archival type of protection in those folders, in the iToya portfolios, as I mentioned and I personally recommend, once you have that in there, another way and another thing you need to think about is, do you want to display those autograph pieces in your collection? Whether you have an office that you want to display those in, whether you have a living room, a theater room, or some type of area in your home or apartment that you want to display these items to, you have to think about, okay, what is going into the preservation of these pieces for the long term? So there's a couple different ways, and I'm going to go through some items here, but once again, keep this in mind. It's all up to your personal preference. I'm just giving you some tips and tricks so that you can think about how you want to actually approach this and apply to your collection. So first off, you're going to think about is displaying the original versions of your autograph. Now, this comes with a couple different caveats. When it comes to actually displaying your original versions, the number one thing you want to make sure on is making sure that the autograph is not right up against the glass. And that applies specifically to what we talked about earlier with those top loaders. The same rule is going to apply. If you keep an autograph that is right up against that glass for a long period of time, eventually that ink is going to start bleeding through the glass and start attaching right to it. So if you ever take that photo right out of the glass again, it may pull the ink off over time. Now, it may take many, many years for that to happen, but you still don't want that to happen, even if it is years later. So one of the best ways to do that is to get a mat. So what that is allowing you to give you a little extra space between the glass and your autographed piece. So it gives you a little bit of extra. Of course, it is going to make the frame a bit bigger than the photo itself. So let's say you have an 8x10 photo, you might have to go to an 11x14 frame, just because you're putting that mat in there to add a little extra space and to push that piece a little further back away from the glass. But it may look nice. You can change things up, get different colored mats, change things up, make it look nice, make it look professional. You can either do it yourself by getting pieces from an art store, or you can send those items to a professional framer within your community to ask them to create a special piece for you. You might be able to do that if you're willing to spend a little extra money to get that done. But that is going to be your number one thing, is making sure it's not up against the glass. Now, number two thing, which can kind of go hand in hand with being number one, it's really important there at the top, is making sure that if you are displaying your originals, make sure it is away from natural sunlight. So natural sunlight is going to be one of the number one things that destroys ink on a photo. If your windows are having direct sunlight hitting that autograph all day, every day for many, many years, eventually that autograph is going to start to fade away, especially if you're using a Sharpie or some type of kind of cheaper marker. That autograph is going to start fading away from the sun constantly hitting it. And even if you have blinds on your window, just a little bit of sun may cause damage over time. It's not a guarantee that it's going to do that, but just keep in mind that it may cause that. And right now we're talking about just making ways to protect your autographs the most, so that way you don't have any types of issues when it comes to protecting them and preserving them for future generations. So that's the biggest thing. Make sure that it's not up against the glass. Make sure there's no direct sunlight on the photo. So now that we've talked about those two options, let's jump to the other side of things. Now, myself, I do practice this on a couple pieces I have hanging up here in my office, and in the other room over here, is that I do put up copies of my autographs. And what that is that I personally, for archival reasons, I scan in every single autograph piece that comes into my collection. No matter what size the photo may be or item, I scan in or take a photo of each of those items, and I have a folder where I keep track of every single autograph piece that I own. And that allows me to quickly access that, so if I want to look something over, if I want to share it with the community, that way it's easy to share. So for that, I have these high-res scans, and what I do is I just use a printing company. I personally use Nation's Photo Lab. I think they're really, really great when it comes to printing these out. And for that is I just order prints in the same size as the original photo of the autograph that I have in my collection, because then that way I leave the original version of that autograph in my iToya folder, and then the copied version I actually hang up on the wall. So the photos who are actually right behind me here, right above the Star Wars game that I have my Star Wars photos, all of those are copies of the originals that are actually sitting in my folders, which is actually right over here. And that way I'm able to make sure that even though there is actually a window right in front of me here that looks right on those photos, so even though I have some light filtering blinds here, I don't want to take any chances on these ones, especially some of these are priceless and of actors that are no longer with us. I want to make sure that they're protected for many years to come, and at the same time I could display and say, hey, these are actual autographs that are authenticated, that are real, that are in my personal collection. I would like to share with the community, share with any friends or family to come over, and so forth. Meanwhile, I also have over, actually right on this side of me, I have my original signed and sketched Ahsoka sketch from the creator of the Clone Wars, Dave Filoni. That is actually the original version of that, and I have it matted behind that frame, so it is not up against the glass, and it's on the opposite ends where there are no windows and there's no ability for sunlight to hit it. So I am confident that I can protect that piece and make sure it's perfectly fine without any damage to it from the sun and any damage to it from the frame that's actually located in. So those are a couple different things for you to think about. Now, a lot of people, they don't feel comfortable putting up a copy on the wall. They rather have the original because they feel kind of weird about making a copy of an autograph. It's not forging anything. And the biggest thing you got to keep in mind is that this is for your personal collection. If you do make any copies of autographs in your collection, you are not gonna be selling these or putting them out into the market. This is for your own personal collection. So we've talked about how to preserve your autographs, making sure on the short term, getting from an event or from a private signing directly into your home in the short term, and then of course, then preserving them in the long term while putting them into those different folders. And of course, if you are looking to display those different items, a couple different tips and tricks on how to display them properly so you don't have any issues of autographs fading away or those pieces getting damaged over the time that they are displayed. Those are just a few different items that we wanted to go over today, that way to give it out to the community, especially if you are a new collector in the autograph world. Keep these things in mind when you're starting to collect. Of course, like I said earlier, you're spending your money, you're spending your time on collecting these items. And of course, if you're just like me, the reason why you're collecting those items is because you love all these different movies, you love all these different TV shows, you love all these different actors and actresses that you're either meeting or collecting these items from. They are really important pieces and extensions of all the different type of media that we have grown up with, all the different medium that we currently love, and you want to make sure that they're protected for future generations and cherished just the way that you felt when you first ordered that item or when you first met that person directly at a show or convention. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification to be notified when we post new videos. We do have some other items in the work when it comes to tips and tricks on increasing your collection, protecting your collection on all different types of pop culture collectibles. So stick around here at Brandao Collection. You're not going to want to miss those items. We also have some more haul videos coming up very soon and some more exciting things just for you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep on collecting.